You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them. Republicans and Democrats.
All right, folks. Well, happy Monday morning. That's right. This is a little unusual. This is Finding Common Ground, usually heard here on KLRNradio.com on Saturday mornings. Due to the holiday schedules, though, we went ahead and took Saturday morning off. My usual co-host is still hanging out in Antigua without me, the little butthead. So we have brought in the original co-host, Mr. Dave Brown, to fill in for a special Monday, New Year's Day holiday edition of Finding Common Ground. Good morning, Mr. Brown. How are you, sir?
I got your Antigua right here. I'm doing fine.
Well, that's kind of
Thank you for asking.
That's kind of how I felt when I sent Bryce a message. Said, "Hey, if you want to do your show this Saturday, we can, but FCG is going to be a replay because the wife's off." And he's like, "No, it's all right. I'm in Antigua anyway." I was like, "What? You little college
Must be
bastard."
Nice. No, I'm doing fine. How was your New Year's?
It was pretty cool. I mean, we had nieces and nephews and grandkids over, and that was kind of the gist of it. We stayed up, watched the ball drop, watched Mariah Carey have a meltdown on stage, and then went to bed.
So I heard all about what happened because I didn't watch it. I was in bed by like 11:30.
Yeah, whatever, old man. Okay, so anyway, the biggest thing is, she comes out and she's wearing one of her signature, looks like it came from Victoria's Secret kind of outfits, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So then she starts singing. Well, about halfway through the first song, she seems to apparently have forgotten the words. So she starts playing along and saying, we're going to let the audience sing, and putting the microphone out there. And, of course, they're singing along. And every once in a while, she'll pick it up with a harmony. But it's apparent at this point that she's forgotten which song she's even singing because she's not even trying to do any of the words anymore. So on the next song, somebody figured out she was having an issue. So they loaded a vocal track, and she got helped up onto this bigger platform. She started performing the song. Of course, at that point, you're not sure it's a vocal track. You're like, okay, so maybe she's recovering. So about 3 minutes into a 3-minute and 30-second song, she starts talking to the audience while the vocal track still has her singing.
Oh, God.
It was like Milli Vanilli on steroids, dude. There was one final victim to the curse of 2016, and I believe it might have actually been Mariah Carey's singing career.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Her career has just been interesting because if you remember back, she started out as basically an easy listening singer. Her first couple records were Magic 104, like the definition of what that station was playing in 1992. So pretty much garbage. I mean, the woman has always had an amazing voice. She really has. And then something happened, and she made a hard right turn down Skank Avenue, and has since then been an absolute one of those people. And her music stinks. It was never something I enjoyed anyway. And yeah, she's just a. It's like you listen to her sing, and you're like, man, you should be doing opera, because really that's your voice. If you listen to what she can do vocally, and playing really bad R&B wannabe hip hop is not it. And coming out dressed like, you know, she's a 18-year-old runway model for Victoria's Secret when she's 40 whatever the hell, is just kind of sad.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was just really disturbing. I mean, it was like one of those things, you know, we joke about things being like a train wreck, because when they go terribly, terribly wrong, no matter how hard you want to, you can't look away. That was that entire performance.
Oh, man.
And then, you know, everybody in the house is like, dude, she is drunk. She is on something. She's messed up. There's got to be something else going on. And then we got to thinking, we got to talking about it, because, you know, she also, not only did she take a hard turn onto Skank Avenue, she actually has become somewhat of a gold digger, which is kind of funny for somebody that actually has the kind of money that she has. Apparently, and I didn't know this until somebody pointed it out, and then I went and looked it up. You remember the dude that used to do the Dos Equis commercials? The older
Maybe?
guy? You know, the most interesting man, you know, that always was like, stay thirsty, my friends.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, she was dating him for a while. And the dude is like uber rich. And then, you know, she moved on to Nick Cannon, who is rich but not uber rich. And I don't know. It's just apparently she has gone from like rich person to rich person to rich person and drained them pretty well dry and then moved on. So interesting.
I mean, is she that bad with her own money? Because she sold an ass ton of records at one point. I mean, a lot of records. A lot of people bought her crap.
Well, I mean, come on. Look at it logically. Look at the music industry as a whole. Look at all the people that have that type of money suddenly thrown at them, and look at all the stupid things they do with it.
MC Hammer. Yeah, true. That's why people that win the lottery that are dirt ass poor are often right back where they started, if not in a worse position, very shortly afterwards.
You know,
that would probably be me.
That's one of the things that I don't understand, because, you know, we were talking about that too. What is it with people that win the lottery because they have all this money all of a sudden, and suddenly they're going out to buy everything they possibly can scoop up on credit? Why would you need to buy things on credit? Why?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Some of it is, and it's funny, there was something on crack.com that they put out a few years ago, and it was like it's like 5 things you learn when you grow up poor. And one of them was you have to, any money that you have to spend right now, because you don't know how long you're going to have it. So there's this real urgency. You have to spend it now. And admittedly, I grew up in a middle class household, but since I've been adult, I've been poor. And I'm not going to lie, there are times that mentality creeps into my head. It's like, oh, I have money. I'm not going to have this for very long. I better go ahead and get that now. And I think that's a lot of it. There are people that have no clue how to manage money. And when they're thrown a ton of it, they figure, oh, this is always going to be here. And next thing you know, it's all gone. And during that process, they probably stupidly open up credit cards because they can pay the bills, but they never pay the bills. And there you go.
No, it's just funny to me because I don't know. I mean, that's one of the things that we've tried to avoid. I mean, I had no choice when we were trying to get approved for the house but to open a few credit cards, because it actually helped swing the credit score while we were trying to build everything back up. But, you know, it's just one of those things where I intentionally tried to make sure that I didn't go crazy with the credit cards for a reason, because I knew the money wasn't going to last forever.
Right.
And I'm kind of glad that I didn't now. I mean, I still have to make the monthly payments every month, but it's not anything that's completely unmanageable, and I'm not sitting here on $40,000 worth of debt going, where did all this come from and how do I get rid of it? But it's just interesting to watch the differences, because that's the thing. You look at people like Mariah Carey and MC Hammer and all the people that we've been talking about, and you think that they have such a much better life than you do just because they have money. No, not really, because they didn't understand what to do with the money when they had it, so they're really not much different than you. They just had a much more interesting ride to get back to the poorhouse.
Yeah, exactly. And MC Hammer, he was a case. How many cars did he have at one point? Like hundreds? It was ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, they all do that. I mean, that's like, I was watching a show called Tanked. It's been a while. I haven't watched it in a while. But anyway, it's a couple of guys I think they're out of Vegas, and they're not, I don't remember exactly where they are. But anyway, they make like custom fish tanks, and that's like the whole show, is they go and they show the different designs and everything they're going to do for a particular client. They actually did one, they've actually done two now for Shaquille O'Neal. And one of the first times that they were in his house, he showed them his garage, which was bigger than my entire house, and it had like 150 cars in it.
Wow, that is.
I was like, dude, that's like a different car for like almost 6 months, and then you could start rotating back again. You could basically drive two cars. You could go 6 months almost without driving the same car twice.
That's just kind of stupid.
It seems excessive to me.
Yeah, I don't understand that. There are things that I want materially. I mean, we're all a little bit materialistic, unless you're some kind of monk or, priest or nun or something. You've got a little bit of materialism in you. It's just part of the society we grow up in. But I can't imagine ever being at a point where I want a ton of cars. I don't like cars that much. I just want something that can get me where I'm going and works well, and I don't have to mess with. I don't need 50 cars or 100 cars. I don't need a garage that's bigger than my house. That's just disturbing. Though, speaking of Shaquille O'Neal, he rumor has it he's going to be facing the Big Show at WrestleMania 33 this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they teased it last year. He was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal with the Big Show. And apparently this is going to be it, and then Big Show should be retiring, hopefully.
I had no idea that Shaquille O'Neal had become a bit of a wrestling guy. That's kind of...
He's been on the show before over the years. Yeah, apparently he's a fan.
So I'd ask how your holiday was, but apparently you were in bed before the sun went down.
No, not that early. But I was like 11:30. I was tired, man. None of us really did much. The kids kind of did their own thing, and I think we went to Walmart to do a little bit of shopping. I made dinner, I think. I've slept since then.
Sure?
Not enough.
I figured maybe you guys went out and got the early bird special and got back in time to watch some Matlock.
No, we did not go to Furs. Man, have you ever eaten at Furs?
It's been a long time, but it was actually. Now I've eaten at two different versions of Furs, because back in the day there was one by my old house when I grew up that was the old cafeteria serving line Furs, and my parents used to take us there once in a while. Then of course there's the new one down your way that's kind of Golden Corral kind of Furs. It's been a while since I've eaten there. The last time I ate there, they had really good food, but I have to admit it's been like 2 years, so I have no idea what it's like now.
Yeah, it's not bad. It definitely is. It's got that cafeteria feel, because it's now basically a bunch of, it's kind of like Golden Corral. It's like a bunch of salad bars, but they're not all salad bars, but they function like a salad bar does. And you go around, you pick up your food. And the weird thing, though, is whenever I feel like you go to an all-you-can-eat place, part of me thinks, okay, if I'm going to get my money's worth, I need to gorge myself, right? And their food's not so good to the point where I want to go back and get 3 platefuls. Unlike if I find a really good Chinese restaurant, I will get probably 2 ginormous platefuls, hate myself for about 2 hours afterwards because I'm in pain, and then about 3 hours later, I'll be hungry again because Chinese food just never keeps me full for any length of time. No matter how much you eat a ton of it, and then it's like 3 hours later, you're like, man, I'm kind of hungry.
Yes. Chinese food has that effect on everyone, and I'm kind of the same way. And actually, it's interesting that you bring up Chinese food because for the longest time, the wife hated Chinese food. Now, all of a sudden, she likes it. So she's figured out how to make a lot of our favorite dishes at home, which is kind of awesome.
Very nice. Yeah, Emily and I, my wife, we like Chinese food, but the kids don't at all. So it is something that we never really get to have. And I haven't found a good Chinese buffet in years. So there's a place here in Moore that we go to, Happy House, that's really good. They've got really good mugu gai pan, and which is probably my favorite, next to cashew chicken. But unless you're in Springfield, Missouri, you don't have real cashew chicken because cashew chicken everywhere else is not cashew chicken. You've got to go to Springfield.
I like sesame chicken.
Never had sesame chicken.
With stuff.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, this is tantalizing conversation right here, ladies and gentlemen.
It's also making me hungry, so we should probably change topics.
I was, I had breakfast right before. I was like, I'm not going to get hungry during the show. I got to eat.
Yeah, see, I was fighting with the radio station server and having other issues going on. So, yeah, there was no breakfast for me yet. So, fun times. Now I really want Chinese food.
Hey, man, lunch. That's what you can do for lunch.
Lunch? I'm going to figure out how to make some up and just eat it for breakfast, dude.
Well, by the time we're done, it's going to be 10. 10's that weird hour, man, because you get past 10 o'clock and you're in lunch territory. It's like between 10 and 10:30, you could still kind of get away with breakfast, especially if you're planning on not having lunch until 2-ish. But after 10:30, it's for me, it's that point I'm like, man, I'm just going to wait and have a bigger lunch.
Nah. See, for me, I'm kind of weird that way, though, because I will eat breakfast food pretty much any time of the day. So at the same time, if we don't have anything good for breakfast, I'll just find leftovers and eat those. Because I'm just like, we're like one of the only countries on the planet that has different food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner anyway. Everybody else just eats whatever they can find.
Yeah, well, that's because, it's the excess of America. It's only going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of getting worse, we have a new president coming soon.
Yes, we do. He is going to be sworn in what is it now, 18 days, I think?
It was hilarious. The other day I was in 7-Eleven. I stopped on my way to work and get a refill on my unsweet tea. And there was one of the workers in there. He's like, yep, about 21 more days until America gets a big boot in the rear. And I was like, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know me well enough to know that I fought against this outcome every step of the way because I'm like, there's no way that we need this guy as president. But now I'm kind of in the same boat I was in 2008 after Obama won. I'm kind of like, well, you know what? He's going to be president whether I wanted him to be president or not. So let's see what he does. And I'm still getting crap for that, by the way, which is kind of funny because if he does something that I don't agree with and I say something about it, then all of a sudden I'm a leftist. If he does something that I do agree with and I compliment him for it, then I am a Nazi. I can't win for losing right now. It's the one thing, and we were talking about this on Robinson and Wright on Friday night. There's no disagreement in this country anymore. You don't have the ability to disagree with people and still come together and find things that you do agree on. Because as soon as they figure out you disagree with them on something, you become the enemy, and you must be destroyed. And I'm just so tired, and I'm over all of that because at this point, I don't want him to fail. I am terrified that he's going to. I am terrified that things are going to be much worse by the time his first term is over than they are right now because he doesn't know how to behave as a rational adult. And that is the thing that I have been afraid of this entire time. But rooting for him to fail now is no different than being on the Titanic and praying that the guy that's at the helm finds the iceberg instead of dodges it.
Yeah, see, unfortunately, it's sad that you couldn't have made Rush Limbaugh understand that same concept 8 years ago. But then again, it makes for better radio when you spew hatred. I don't want the man to fail either. But just like you, I'm terrified because he's not a rational human being. He is, he behaves like a child, but I hate to insult children in that way because I know very young children that don't behave that poorly. And he has no impulse control, which is not good for foreign policy. My hope still is at some point the shadow factions of the government, the people that really run the show, pull him aside and sit him down and give him the most serious come to Jesus talk ever and let him know who's really in control, who really killed Kennedy, and that they will kill him too if he screws things up too much. But then again, we'd get Mike Pence as president, and that could be bad too. It's kind of a no-win situation here. I mean, I'm like you, though. I want the guy to succeed because if he succeeds, then the country succeeds. I don't agree with the policies he espouses, at least the few he's actually, imagined to talk about, because for the most part, he just yammers about whatever that he thinks will make people angry. And he's appointed a bunch of nincompoops, but I don't want the country to fail because we can't afford to fail. If the country fails, we're all screwed. And if nothing else, for self-preservation, I don't want us to get screwed.
I mean, I really don't have much more to add to that. It's just, it's astounding to me that we have become as divided as we are. And again, a lot of that, I mean, you'd mentioned Rush Limbaugh. There have been just as many people on the left spewing hate for the last 8 years, and that's what needs to change. Regardless of your political slant, we need to remember that first we are all actually people, because we don't look at each other that way anymore. And I've seen it time and time again, even on places like Twitter. As soon as somebody realizes there's one thing, we might agree on 99 other things, but on one thing I say something that they don't agree with, and all of a sudden they're tagging in like 14 people to come tell me that they're going to come find me and kill me, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And I'm like, really? Dude, look, we were just talking about the 99 other things that we agree with, but because I'm afraid that Donald Trump is probably going to do some things that I'm not going to like, then all of a sudden I'm un-American and you think I deserve to be killed. And that,
that I don't understand.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, there were a lot of times when because again, I'm kind of in wait and see mode like I was in 2008, and then I started hearing about some of the things that Barack Obama was doing that I didn't agree with, like moving the Obamacare hearings behind closed doors so that they couldn't be publicized on C-SPAN, because as long as they'd remained on the main floor of the House, he would have been able to keep his word. But then all of a sudden everything started being moved to behind closed doors, and then there were all these different things that were coming out about it, and then it was all these special interest groups that were helping write it, and it's just all of these different things, and that was just the beginning of it for me. And there were so many other things, and that's why I'm just as afraid now, because that's what's happened. We had this whole Chris Matthews tingle up the leg thing going on for 2008 and 2012. Now the folks that were supposed to be the ones that kept telling me that they were the rational side of the argument are having the same exact reaction to someone else who is talking much the same way that Barack Obama did in 2008. And that's what terrifies me, because the thing about Obama that actually wound up ultimately helping is, for the longest time, he didn't really understand how to wield the power that he had at his disposal. Donald Trump doesn't have that problem. He's been foaming at the mouth to get this chance since the 80s. He knows exactly what to do with it. He knows exactly what he's going to do with it. And he's already said to at least 3 different people that I've read articles from behind closed doors that his main stance in the beginning of his term is going to be to get revenge against the people that he felt like wronged him during this campaign. That is not something that we should be hearing even in tertiary talk from somebody that's about to be running what is, for the moment, still the strongest country on the planet.
Yeah. You make some excellent points. The thing it's funny. It's sad, but for all the people who are now on the receiving end of the hatred, and what I can say is, no matter which side you're on, let's say if you were someone that was, spewing it at Barack Obama 8 years ago and you felt justified, and now you're receiving it 8 years later from the people you were just crapping on for 8 years because of Donald Trump, and or vice versa. Either way, people really need to think about, how does it feel to be on the receiving end of that? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? If the answer is no, why in God's name would you want to inflict that on someone else? Where is your compassion? Where is your empathy? And to me, that is the biggest problem society has, be it here in America or across the world, is our lack of compassion and empathy. Because if people were truly empathetic and compassionate, they wouldn't treat each other like dog crap. They wouldn't screw each other over. And most problems that we have would really, truly work themselves out in the long run. But people are greedy. People have hubris. People are fearful, and people are hateful. And it's sad. And the biggest problem I think that we are going to find in the long run with the Donald Trump candidacy and potentially with his presidency is the fact that he is going to embolden these people who feel such hatred and who feel anger, and you've seen it already. You're on the receiving end of it on a nearly daily basis from the folks on the right, and folks on the left are doling it out too and receiving it. And the only thing I can ever say to people is, okay, sit back, and when you get that comment or someone attacks you and tells you you suck, you need to die, and all this, think to yourself, do you enjoy this? Does this feel good? And I know there's some people out there that get huge hard-ons on it. Man, they get off. There's nothing they enjoy more than someone telling them how much they suck, and it just gives them the biggest face of their life, and they go on and they want to inflict that on other people. Those people are psychotic and need help. But for the most part, folks, because they get in impassioned arguments, and when you get in impassioned arguments, you just start saying stupid shit. It just happens. But I just tell people, ask them, please think about, how does it feel when someone rips into you like that? Do you enjoy it? And if the answer is no, don't reply in kind. For the love of Pete, man, take the high road.
And on that note, we are going to take a break. We got to pay some bills. This is Finding Common Ground. We'll be right back here in just a couple minutes.
Money, yo.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
And we need serious people to solve them. Republicans and Democrats.
And welcome back, folks. This is a very special New Year's Day holiday edition of Finding Common Ground, because, of course, New Year's Day was actually yesterday, but thanks to holidays, we get Monday off, so woohoo! So since we didn't have day job stuff to do, we decided to do a special edition of Finding Common Ground. Now, since it is a special edition, we're going to change tactics a little bit. We've kind of talked a little bit about New Year's celebrations. We've talked a little bit about politics. Now it's time to talk about something fun. That something fun is Rogue One. If you have not seen it yet, I do advise you to hit stop now, because there may or may not be spoilers. But anyway, so we actually went and saw that together and hung out with my my two teenage sons that are still at home. And it was it was an interesting experience. I'm not gonna lie. One of the biggest things that I kept looking for, because you know the whole pro-Trump right-wing media was like, boycott Rogue One because they make Donald Trump look stupid. I didn't see anything that could have remotely pointed anywhere near back towards Lord Cheesy Poof. So I'm kind of confused about that, but. All in all, it was a great flick. I have to admit, I forgot some of the backstory. So I forgot that, well... Now that I'm done fighting with the server, I forgot that the ending was not necessarily going to be a happy one. I will only say that just in case we do have some people that haven't figured out to hit the stop button yet. But, so Dave, what were your thoughts?
Okay, yeah, so if you haven't figured out by now, spoilers alert. Spoilers. I thought it was great. It was, it fit beautifully into that time frame between Sith and A New Hope. And I mean, it fed directly into New Hope. And I remember from the original film, you know, they talked about the group of people that secured the plans and how no one survived. And I think you had mentioned something about everyone dying, and our good friend Steve had also mentioned something about that. And I just was like, yeah, I think they mentioned in the movie that no one survived that. And I was completely fine with no one dying. It was really cool seeing Darth Vader in action, losing his shit and getting super pissed. I enjoyed it, man. I didn't even mind the Peter Cushing's CGI'd face for Grand Moff Tarkin. I didn't mind Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, her CGI'd face as the young Princess Leia. I thought that was cool. Seeing Jimmy Smits back was nice. I thought that was very cool. And my brother-in-law said this to me on Christmas Day. He said, "This is what the prequels should have been." And I think he was right. It worked on every possible level. Apparently, my coworker and good friend Jennifer, her husband, has nitpicked it and didn't really enjoy it. I'm like, dude, he's on crack. This is a great movie. This is a fantastic freaking movie. It's so much fun. So yeah, it's now it does beg the question, and this is something also my brother-in-law asked, with the prequels, you know, in the prequel films, everything was so clean, and basically his complaint was they did a pretty bad job since we have better technology now in making movies. They did not do a very good job of making the technology in those films look at the same level as the technology in A New Hope and in the original trilogy. And my thought was, well, first of all, there's been a war that's gone on for about, 3, 4, 5 years, a pretty massive war that took over the galaxy. And then you've got a tyrannical empire that has decided to shove their boot squarely up the galaxy's butt and taken over, and people are suffering because of it. And very few people are actually being successful. And because of that, poverty has spread throughout the galaxy, and technology has not improved. So that's why stuff looks grimier and dirtier. That's my theory, at least. I have nothing to back that up.
Well, no, actually, in a lot of ways, it makes sense, because let's and actually, if you think about it, the war's been going on by this time much longer than 4 or 5 years. Because remember, at the end of Episode 3, Luke and Leia were just born. At the end of New Hope, we're actually watching Princess Leia, who at that time, I believe chronologically, Carrie Fisher was 19, so I think the character was supposed to be around that same age. So you're talking about a 19-year span where you're talking about what was the end of the golden age of the Republic, where everybody was working together to make things better for their fellow man, etc., to the downturn of an empire that basically took all of their resources and all their ability to do much of anything and turned it to weapons of war, weapons of fear, basically, and that's why you saw the decline between even Episode 3 and the original Episode 4, because you're forgetting, a lot of folks forget, there was a 20-year war at that point that was raging. I mean, well, there was a 20-year span. I'm not sure how long the war had been going on between the fall of the Republic and the beginning of the Rogue 8 movie, but the thing to think about, though, is no matter how long that particular war had been going on, you're still talking about a tyrannical government that took all of their resources and poured them into the massive military machine instead of making things better for their subjects, because they don't give a damn about their subjects. And maybe that's why everybody thought that they were trying to poke fun at Donald Trump. But if they thought that, then that's more of an issue that they need to look at internally. Because if you're looking at a movie and the first thing you think of is they're making fun of the guy that I just voted for, that seems to be more a problem with you, not the movie.
Agreed. Yeah, and the war I was actually talking about was the Clone Wars.
Oh, that's
so you had from, Episode 2 to Episode 3, it's like a 3-year period, I think, and that's when the Clone Wars happened. And then you've got 20 years between 3 and 4, give or take. So I think it's actually 18, because I think Luke and Leia were supposed to be 18, somewhere between 18 and 20. It's all it's all real iffy on the numbers.
It's all conjecture at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So who was your favorite character in the film? And if you don't know their actual names, that's fine, because I don't.
Actually, I'm not really sure I had a favorite character in this one. I don't know. Well, I mean, the one I think I enjoyed the most was the reprogrammed the reprogrammed droid, because he, of course, had all the one-liners.
Oh, he was hilarious, and I love that he was the one that threw in the "I have a bad feeling about this." I thought that was great, because that line is in every single Star Wars movie.
Yes, it is.
My favorites were him and the blind dude. The blind monk, I thought was great. The blind dude
was fun. The blind monk was fun. So was there anything overall you were disappointed about with the movie at all? Was there anything you thought they could have done better?
Honestly, no, but I went into the movie with zero expectations. There was a time I was a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm just not anymore. I like Star Wars, I do, but I am not the fan that I was. There was a time, when I was in my 20s, and when I got into actually reading, it was Star Wars novels that got me into reading, and I read the New Jedi Order basically as it happened. I've read, I think, over the years, 40 Star Wars books. So I've read a lot of them. So I'm sure some of it is when they came up and said, we're going to do these new movies, and the expanded universe were completely throwing it out. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But even before then, I had kind of moved on to other things. I still love Star Wars. I think it's amazing. I think it's a great modern myth. And an amazing epic fantasy. So that from that standpoint, I still do love it, but I am not one of these people that dissects it. I don't listen to podcasts about it. When it comes out, I'll watch it. I'll go see it. But that's about it. So yeah, so for me going into this, I was excited in that I thought episode 7 was great. And, I love the idea of going back into this world, because that's the thing I think that most of us enjoy the most, is this wonderfully created world that, for all the things that George Lucas does wrong, world building is not one of them. He is kind of a master at world building, and he built this incredible world that we have enjoyed for over 30 years. And so the chance to go back in there was I was very excited about. The previews all looked really cool, and I knew nothing about it other than this is the mission that gets the Death Star plans, and it looks good. So yeah, I there was nothing that I went, man, this sucks, or any of that. I just sat back and enjoyed it. How about you? Was there anything that you were disappointed with?
Well, I mean, other than the very end when everybody dies, but it's like you said. I guess I forgot about the part in the beginning of some point in episode 4 where they talk about getting the plans and that nobody survived. So I'd kind of forgotten about that part. I'm like, yeah, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, I mean, it didn't really take away from the movie. I honestly think that it was much better than I expected. See, unlike you, I'm still a diehard Star Wars fan, and I may actually have to take you off my Christmas list thanks to that statement you just made. No, I was playing. But,
oh, man. Damn.
There's an inside joke there, folks.
Hey, I thought we could agree to disagree on things, man. You're showing me hate. Just because I disagree with you on something, you're giving me hate, man.
No, actually.
Next thing you know, you're going to slash my tires.
No, there was a reason I brought that up.
If you can catch them.
I figured, your car doesn't move very often, so I can catch them.
Yeah, sorry, continue.
So, anyway, there was a reason I made that joke, folks. Dave's Christmas list from me has consisted for the last 2 Christmases I bought him tickets to the Star Wars movies. And now he's like, I'm not really a fan, but I'll go. I'm like, really? Really?
No, that's not, just to clarify. I do love, and I thoroughly enjoy it. That's been the best part, really, has been able to hang out, because Ricky and I hardly ever see each other, In fact, I think the last time we were together prior to seeing Rogue One was when we saw episode 7.
Yes, sir, it was.
Yeah, we hardly ever get to see each other. So anytime we get together is great. And that is the real highlight. And I enjoy Star Wars. I'm just not one of those guys that just digs into all the minutia and the nooks and crannies. And like our friend Steve. Steve loves Star Wars. He gets into all of that. He watches all the cartoons. I'm like, no, it's great. I still love it. I love the movies, but it's just something, just to each his own. So I don't want you to think that I don't love Star Wars, because I do. Sorry, continue.
Oh no, like I said, I was just messing with you.
Starting to get there.
No, it's like I said, just little poke for fun, because you're all like, I don't really enjoy it like I used to. I have to admit, the prequels almost killed it for me too, and then I also felt your pain when Disney took it over and they're like, hey, all that time and energy you spent reading all those books, yeah, forget about all those. I'm like, what? No. But yeah, so I honestly felt your pain for a while. I think what actually kind of helped me get over it, though, was how good episode 7 actually was. Now, I will admit there were some science things in episode 7 where I was like, yeah, but overall, the story itself was really, really well done.
Okay, Bill Nye.
Huh?
Okay, Bill Nye. Neil deGrasse Tyson, two gentlemen who I immensely respect, but they're also like, well, the science and this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, shut up. Just stop. Okay? Stop it.
Well, I mean, just think about it, though. A lot of the science in Star Wars up until now has been at least a little bit plausible. I mean, the whole idea of basically a bigger version of a Death Star that can shoot across solar systems is a little out there. But, I mean, who goes to a movie to nitpick the sciencey stuff? I mean, if you're going to do that, you watch Star Trek and you go, okay, so that doesn't work that way. Kind of like when they did Enterprise and started changing all the canon and everything, and everybody started freaking out because all of a sudden there's this time war that nobody knew anything about until Enterprise, which is, I think, one of the reasons why the show did very, very poorly. Another reason it did very, very poorly was because it moved away from the episodic format and started doing things as a continuing timeline from one episode to the other. And why I bring this up is because I want to gripe for a second, because I finally found some sneak peeky stuff about Star Trek Discovery, I think is what they're calling it. And they're going to do the same thing. They actually said at Comic-Con that it's not going to be episodic TV. It's going to be more like a novella, and it's going to be chapter by chapter, hour by hour. And I'm just like, that's what killed Enterprise, and you're about to do it again. The only thing that may save this one is it's going to be on an app, so you can kind of go back and watch it pretty much whenever you want.
And that's only going to be on the app. They're not going to do that on broadcast TV. It's only going to be on CBS's app, which I think is really strange.
Actually, it's not. Hang on. It is. The first run episodes are only going to be available on the CBS app. However, you will have access to the episode from Netflix the day after it airs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
They actually cut a deal with Netflix to make. I mean, you won't get to see it the day they put it up, but you can see it the day after. And that's why, if you'll notice, if you have Netflix, you'll notice that over the last several months they've actually added pretty much everything Star Trek related. You can find Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, and even the short little cartoon show they did like forever ago. It's all right there, and that's actually part of a deal that was announced between Netflix and CBS, because I understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're trying to get as many people as they can to pay for their particular app. Which, honestly, if you haven't looked at it yet, I do encourage you to do that. They have a lot of cool stuff on there. Now, of course, you can't get to most of it unless you're paying for their subscription, but they have some pretty cool older shows on there, and pretty much every episode of Star Trek ever imaginable, which doesn't really bother me much because I can get to it from Netflix. But so I am looking forward to that finally launching. And like I said, the only thing that may save it at this point is what I can wind up doing when I have a few extra 5 minutes here and there, is I can just go in and binge watch whatever episodes I've missed, so I can actually keep up with it much better than I was able to when it was actually a television show that was airing weekly. I think they're still going to do the weekly drops. I don't think it's going to be like Netflix where they put them all out all at once. I think they're still going to put out an episode a week, but it's going to go straight to their app instead of the TV, which I kind of want to be able to watch it on TV, though, honestly, because that's some of my best memories from childhood, and even earlier with my older children, being able to sit down and watch things like Voyager and even Enterprise with them. My youngest hasn't really had that opportunity other than reruns, so I'm kind of looking forward to there being some fresh Star Trek content that I can hopefully get him to sit down and watch with me. He's not nearly the sci-fi nerd that I am, so I'm not optimistic, but I'm going to try.
So is the CBS, is that something, can you get that like on a Roku or something and watch it on a smart TV?
I think so.
I wonder.
I know, well, they have an app available in both Play stores. I'm pretty sure pretty much anything you can get from one of the app stores you can get for a Roku.
Okay.
I had one at one point in time, so I could have probably tested that for you, but I let someone borrow it and it never came back.
Hate it when that happens. So, speaking of this Discover show, what timeline does it take place in? In the new timeline or in the original timeline?
It'll be in the original timeline.
And when is it like post Next Generation? Is it? Do we even know?
I honestly don't think they've released too much about that yet. Hang on, I'll see if I can find anything real quick.
And why are they going back to the original timeline?
Because most of the diehard Star Trek TV fans don't like the new timeline movies.
I just don't get that. Especially Star Trek Beyond, man. That was the most Star Trek-y of the new films, and it is so good.
Let's see what Wikipedia says. It's premiered in May of 2017 before moving to All Access. I guess they're going to run the premiere on CBS, and then they're going to move it to All Access after that. The first season will consist of 13 episodes. The premise, the lieutenant commander of the USS Discovery, referred to as number 1, the decision to not make the series... So roughly a decade before the events of the original Star Trek series. So it's actually going all the way back to TOS and about 10 years before.
Okay, so now this again begs the question, how do you make the technology not overshadow the... I'm going to watch it, because at least the first episode, because I'm curious, and especially with it dropping on Netflix the way stuff normally drops on Hulu, then that'll be cool. But we'll see.
So it really doesn't say too much about it. It says set roughly a decade before the events of the original Star Trek series, the series follows the crew of the USS Discovery as they discover new worlds and civilizations while exploring the franchise's signature contemporary themes. The season's long storyline revolves around an incident and an event in Star Trek history that has been talked about but has never been explored. So it really doesn't say very much.
Oh, yeah, they've kept super quiet about what this is actually going to be, which is kind of irritating. But we'll see.
So I guess the actual quote unquote captain of the Discovery will wind up being a lieutenant commander. The decision to, well, at least I don't know if he'll be the captain, but he's going to be the series protagonist. The lieutenant commander of USS Discovery, referred to as number 1, the decision to not make the series protagonist a starship captain like those of previous Star Trek series was made to see a character from a different perspective on the starship.
Oh, that's cool.
So that could put things in an interesting twist. So anyway, I guess it's supposed to be launching here in about 4 more months. Woohoo!
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Some other shows coming out that I'm looking forward to in 2017. The Defenders, I think, is going to be awesome. Iron Fist, I can't wait for. So pretty much anything Netflix Marvel related, I'm stoked about. Those are all going to be good.
They have done a really good job with the Marvel stuff on Netflix. I have been impressed. I wasn't really sure what I was going to think because it's just like, it's either going to be really good or it's going to be really, really bad. And there's never in between. But Netflix has done a really, really good job with Marvel. I have been really impressed with pretty much everything they've put out so far. Luke Cage has to be one of my favorites so far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that Luke Cage is just, it's outstanding. And in a way, it is really, really bold because that is one of the, and I don't mean this to sound bad, but that is truly one of the blackest shows you will ever see. And they don't pull any punches. They're like, this is in Harlem. This is, 90% black people in this cast. We're just going full blown balls deep in it, and they don't screw around, and it's wonderful, and it's just so well done. I love that show. I love Jessica Jones, both seasons of Daredevil, and they're all so different is what's so fun, but they're obviously still in that same part of New York City and in the same world as the Avengers. Now my only hope is that someday, at some point, we will get to see Daredevil and Spider-Man side by side. I don't think it's going to happen because the TV worlds and the movie worlds apparently aren't going to cross streams anytime soon. And that's fine. You don't need everyone to show up in everyone else's stuff. But since they're both in New York, it would be kind of cool.
Well, look, now the last episode of Luke Cage actually alluded to the fact that it looks like they're going to go meet up with Daredevil.
Yes.
Which I thought was
because they're going to start the Defenders, and that's going to be fantastic. So, very much looking forward to it.
All right, well, believe it or not, we are officially out of time. Why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you are not on the radio hanging out with me?
All right, well, I got a couple of things going on. I've got a weekly wrestling podcast that I co-host that drops here on the Spark Radio Network on Sundays. It's called Around the Ring. You can follow that show on the Twitter at Around the Ring OK, and from there you can get the links to all of our other stuff. And also on Sundays, I drop a music podcast, which is an extension of my website /blog. It's the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast, and you can find all the information about that at oklahomalefty.com. And you can, if you want to, if you so desire, follow me on all of the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. At Oklahoma Lefty is where you can find me there. So, and thank you, Ricky, as always, for having me on and putting up with all of my shenanigans.
I wouldn't have it any other way. All right, folks, so we're out of here. Now here, we'll actually be resuming normal programming for most of the rest of the afternoon. And, of course, I will be back tonight for a special episode of America Off the Rails. Now, of course, we are going to be watching a bowl game tonight, so it will be pre-recorded, but you'll still get fresh content. And then, of course, I will return to normal schedule tomorrow night right here on KLRNradio.com. On that note, folks, we are out. I do hope everybody enjoys the rest of your holiday. Now, for those of you that are out and about today, please be safe. Make sure you're paying attention. Don't text and drive. I actually just got notification that a friend of mine was involved in a car accident, so I'm going to be getting off the air and figuring out what's going on there. But I will talk to you guys later. Take care. God bless.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple